Hi, so we made it. I'm here at Enterprise, Oregon. Me and Ariana, we made it here just safe. And you're probably questioning who's Ariana. I'll tell you in a minute. So hi, I'm John. Welcome to my channel. Welcome to my post. I am the owner of Grounded Tactical Firearms Training, and I'm also an NRA Chief Range Safety Officer, pistol, concealed carry, and after tomorrow, rifle and shotgun instructor. And I'll tell you in a minute what that entails. We have not that many in the Willamette Valley, and I like to be one of them, to teach people the confidence that, to be able to carry and defend themselves and whatnot. So for that, I have to travel to Eastern Oregon and to Enterprise. And for some of you that don't know, I was here last year for my pistol instructor, which was phenomenal, great class. The instructor was John Ammon from the NRA, and it was amazing. Here's some pictures. Look, this is the range that I had to qualify. It was pretty amazing. I don't know if that's going to happen here again, but I will tell you this. What does it mean being an NRA instructor? What it means is that I'm able to effectively teach folks properly how to use a rifle, whether it's for home defense or for self-defense or just the everyday use of a rifle. I'll be able to teach. Now, what does it entail for me? Well, the NRA, in its infinite wisdom, they have a set of rules or tasks that I have to go through and show efficiency on operating such item, right? One of them might be, I know it's 30 rounds, so I have to do it standing, kneeling, and the prone position, and I brought my shooter's mat for tomorrow. And also administratively removing the magazine and inspections and whatnot. That's the gist of it. And you can only do it, I think you have like two passes at it before you're disqualified and you have to come back again. That's not the plan. I'm gonna pass it first time go. So that being said, you guys have seen posts of my rifle build that I was working on, and thank you so much for Mountain Man Arms for the rifle. This specific rifle, there's one thing that I forgot to do and to install, which is the muzzle brake. I don't like the bird cage, which is this. Wait, no, this. Yeah, there we go. Which is this right here. I'm not a fan of the muzzle brake. That muzzle brake has been in circulation for the AR platform since forever. And I'm not a fan of it. So instead, I got something newer, better. I got it at the Sportsman's show, and you guys are gonna help me install it. Now, before we get started and before we start handling firearms, we gotta remember the 4 basic rules of firearm safety. And I'm gonna go with them with you now. So we always, we're going to assume that the firearm is always loaded. We're never going to point at anything you're not intending to destroy. We're going to keep our finger off the trigger, and if we do have to engage, we're always going to be aware of what our target is and what's beyond that. Because remember, you're always held accountable for every round that you use. You are held accountable for that round, regardless if it doesn't hit your target. Wherever that round goes, you have to be accountable. So we're going to go over our 4 rules of basic firearm safety, and that goes to anything that you apply to, whether it's less than lethal, whether it's a training rifle, whether it's a real rifle. You always got to have this mindset when you're operating a firearm, because that mindset carries over. So you always assume that the firearm is always loaded. You keep your finger off the trigger. Never point at anything you're not intending to destroy, and always be aware of your target and what's beyond it. And to break down what that means is, 1, always assume the firearm is always loaded. You never know the status of a firearm when you're getting it from a person. So you always want to assume that the firearm is always loaded. I could be administrative clear the weapon, hand it over to you. You always want to make sure that the firearm is always loaded. Second, keep your finger off the trigger. Pretty self-explanatory. And I will say, in the words of Clint Smith from Thunder Ranch, he always says that if you're on target, you're on the trigger. If you're off the target, you're off the trigger. If you're on target, you're on the trigger. If you're off the target, you're off the trigger. If you're on target, that means that if your intended threat, whether they not comply with your wording, then you are going to take action. If you're off the target, off the trigger, it's pretty self-explanatory. So always keep your finger off the trigger unless you're about to engage. The other one is never point at anything you're not intending to destroy. Self-explanatory. You never want to, what we call cover. You don't want to cover someone because it's funny, whether it's an airsoft gun, an air gun, whatever the case may be. You don't want to do that. You want to think that mindset, right? And last but not least, you want to be aware of what's your target and what's beyond. And what I mean by that is, so let's say you're about to engage someone and you have to shoot them. Well, just because you have a 30-round magazine or 10-round magazine or whatever the case may be, and you're not hitting your target, those rounds are still accountable. Those rounds are still going somewhere. So you want to make sure that your rounds are hitting its intended target, because wherever they land, you're going to be accounted for it. So you want to make sure that you know what's your target and what's beyond it. So be very, very careful, very mindful when you're operating a firearm. So it's going to go through it one more time. Always assume the firearm is always loaded. Keep your finger off the trigger. Never point at anything you're not intending to destroy. And also be aware of your target and what's beyond it. And that's it. Once you've applied those 4 rules of firearm safety, we're good to go. Which leads me to my next thing. We're going to install this muzzle brake right here, right now. Let's go. You're probably wondering, in the back of your mind, who's Ariana? This is Ariana, and for many reasons why. I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory why I call her Ariana. Anyways, so I don't even know where to begin. So I'm going to teach you a little something about muzzle brake or flash hinder or whatever the case, whatever you guys call it, the pointy thing at the top where you see the flash go off when the round leaves. So the bird cage, as it's called, has been around since the beginning of the AR platform. Now, the functionality of the muzzle brake is to expel the gases as it's leaving the barrel. And it has 2 things it does. It has the ability to reduce the sound it produces, and also reduces the recoil, because you have an explosion that's happening here in the upper receiver, in the chamber, right? You have an explosion, the firing pin hits the primer in the casing, right? Hits it. Within that casing, there's the actual bullet. That bullet is coming out the barrel, so the gas has got to go somewhere, right? So that gas comes out, which is what you see on normal pictures, especially at nighttime. You see like the little flames coming out, which happens right here. And to make sure, before I continue, we want to make sure, right? Remember the firearm basic rule that all firearms are treated as if they're loaded. So what we're going to do is we're going to administratively clear the weapon. This is an AR platform. So what we're going to do is we're going to rock back the charging handle a couple of times. We're going to clear it, make sure there's no rounds in there, and we're going to lock back the bolt carrier group like this, finger sweep it, make sure that there's no rounds inside. There's no magazine, because I could clearly, you can see daylight, right? Because the light, you can see daylight. We're going to administratively clear it. It's good. There's no round. This right here just turned into a very expensive paperweight because there's no rounds, right? You agree? Good. Okay, so back to the assignment at hand. We're going to remove the muzzle brake, which is this guy right here. This has got to go. I don't like it. It doesn't fit the aesthetic. And my good friends over at in Infinite, they were at the Sportsman show, so I was able to pick this guy. It serves, like I mentioned earlier, it serves two purposes. I always wear Ear Pro when I'm working with my firearms and I'm on, you know, the live fire range. But what this guy does, look at this. I don't know if you guys can see that. This guy is the muzzle brake. So the idea behind this, unlike the birdcage, the gases that's coming out of the barrel is going to have more room to escape from these 6 holes here. Now, that has a setback, right? Everything else we do with firearms, there's a setback. And that setback is that it's going to be increasingly loud. But I'm wearing Ear Pro, I'm okay with that. Now, we can do something to reverse the effects. However, that too has a setback, because the sound that's coming out here and the gases that's being expelled is going to come out sideways like this. It's going to reduce the recoil for me, which is great. You know, I won't have no issues with my shoulders or anything. But if I want to reverse the effects and I don't want as much as boom, and I want to, like, I don't really care about the recoil, but I really care more about the sound, I can do this. I can add this device. It's not a suppressor per se, it silences it a little bit. However, the expel gases, if you guys know, rather than going up like this, right, up and down, sideways, all over the place, the expel gases is going to be coming forward because we're blocking its exit path, right? So what that means is that that energy, that force from the round coming up, rather than being lightened on my shoulder, it's now going to be pushed this way. So round comes this way along with the boom. You're going to see the little flame come out. All that energy is going to come back towards me for the recoil. Now, I have a pretty good buffer spring on this, and the buffer spring is basically, there's a spring that goes right here, this area, oops, this area right here, there's a buffer spring, and it's literally a spring that it absorbs the shock or the movement of the bolt carrier group running backwards. So as this goes like this, oops, let me show you. So as the firing pin hits the round, the primer, it hits it, this part, this goes back like this. See, that's how that goes. And there's an actual spring inside, and then there's this barrel looking tube thing with a like a rubber stopper at the end that dampens it even more, the load. So as you're shooting like this, it makes it a lot easier. There, right? So that's the 101. That's the basic functionality of how this goes. There's more in depth as far as the distribution of gases, the firing pin, where the gases go, there's the bypass, there's other things. This weapon has been laser bore sighted at home. I'm not gonna explain that. I'll just do it in a different video. So what we're gonna do is, I stopped by at Harbor Freight and we're going to remove this. So give me like 10 minutes. We're gonna remove that thing. Let's go. Okay, so we got it removed. It was a bitch, but it's done. We cracked it, right? So now we're gonna do is gonna remove our curved locking plier set, and this is how easy it is, you guys. Check this out. So we're going to just remove this, put it in like this. Hopefully the laser's not activated, and we're gonna do that. Ta-da! So this is the infamous bird cage. So if you want to compare, you can see the difference. For something that's going at a very high, fast velocity, the expulsion of gases is very important because it also, like I said, it dictates how much recoil you're going to get with a weapon. So comparing this to this, you can see how much of a reduction of recoil you're going to get because this has the most area where the air is going to expel as opposed to this one, which is slotted. So I don't know if you guys can see that, right? But again, you're trading the sound. So this is going to be louder, but easier on the shoulder, right? This is going to be easy on the shoulder, or I'm sorry, semi-easy on the shoulder, but moderately semi-loud, right? So which one you prefer? If you're okay with the whip when it comes, then this is it. But this is what I want because I got him, truth be told, I got it at the show and I always wanted one because it reminds me of a howitzer. If you guys, you know what a howitzer is? Yeah. Right? Pretty badass. So this is why I got it. So just like how we remove this, we're going to put this one on. Gonna make sure that it's hand tight first, and then we're gonna come with the locks like this. All right, so now there we have it. We have a fully custom muzzle brake on my rifle, and let's say if ever down the road I want to change the amplification, but also lose a little bit of performance when it comes to the recoil, we have it. There it is. It's all set, good to go. That was easy, right? Yeah, it's pretty nice. So that being said, we've gone over the basic rules of firearm safety. We've talked about the general basic layout of a rifle, right? The bolt carrier group and also the buffer spring. And then most importantly, we've changed the flash hinder or the flash hinder or the muzzle brake on this weapon. So that being said, it's been laser sighted. We're good to go. The optics are sighted in. I just got to do it one last time when I'm at the range. So yeah, so we're good to go, you guys. So tomorrow will be the test for both courses that I'm going to be taking, and I am stupid excited. I always wanted one of these, and this is just too cool. So thanks for stopping by. I hope you guys learned something out of this because in the process of making this, I too learned a lot of stuff. So if you guys want to know anything about firearms or the NRA or whatever, or you want to join the NRA, make sure you join. I'll give you guys a link at the end of the video, or actually it'll be on somewhere, and be part of the longest civil rights organization group. So make sure you join the NRA because it's the right thing to do. Until then, you guys stay frosty, stay safe, and I'll let you know how I did tomorrow. Bye.